Sports Talk with Phil Kornblue, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
I tell you, what a Friday. What a Friday we have been enjoying today. Hope you've been enjoying it as much as we have. And let's just go ahead and get right into the big story of the day. Of course, you know what it is on this Friday. Big story of the day, of course, is that the Yankees are in first place and the Red Sox are in last place in the American League East. And the world is on its proper axis now. When I look at the standings in the morning, the first thing I'll do tomorrow morning when I open up the state newspaper, of course, it'll have news that was 2 days old. But anyway, I'll look online and look at the standings. It'll show the Yankees leading the American League East, Red Sox in last. And just to double my joy, I'll look at the standings for the National League. I'll do it right now, and we'll see the Braves in last place in their division.
My guess is the Braves will have a much better shot of actually continuing to duplicate what they did last year than your Yankees will.
Don't count us out, even though Aaron Judge today walked away from a $200 million contract. I mean, who does that? $200 million, and his people said not enough. And so he's going to play this year on a one-year deal, which they still have to determine because, you know, he has to go through arbitration. Yeah, has to go through arbitration, and he wants $21 million. The Yankees are offering $17 million. And so, but they ended up offering him a $200 million contract, I think for 6 years and 7 years. Yeah. And so that didn't work. It would have made him one of the, not the, but would have made him one of the highest paid outfielders in baseball.
Good grief. I mean, the amount of money that pro sports is throwing around right now, not just in Major League Baseball, but NFL contracts that we have seen here of late, the money Deshaun Watson got during the offseason for a guy who missed all of last year. I mean, it's gotten to a point, these guys, these owners, and obviously they can afford it, but they're playing with monopoly money. Somewhere down the line, it's got to stop, right?
No.
It's like the TV contracts that go to the colleges.
No.
Sooner or later, where's the money going to dry up?
It won't. We've been saying that for decades. You know, when they've had the first $100,000 contract, people went, oh, my gosh, you're going to pay somebody $100,000 a year to play a sport? And then, of course, you know, we all know that it hasn't stopped from there. Now, more seriously, of course, I was just pulling everybody's chain out there, including the Red Sox fans out there that listen. More importantly, the Masters round 2. We have got tremendous coverage tonight on the Masters round 2 at Augusta. We've got MJ Ward coming up here at the bottom of this hour. He's been on the course. We've got Don Williams a little bit after 7. He's been on the course. We've got George Bryan III a little bit after 7:30. He's been on the course. You and me, we haven't been anywhere near the course.
No, and that's not even the biggest story in the Carolinas here today.
You like the story about the Panthers and Rock Hill?
I don't like it. Oh, gosh, yeah. In terms of what we do, this is an NFL franchise who is not getting what it wanted out of our state. And the question is, who's in the wrong here? Are the Panthers lying that they paid all their bills and everything worked out properly and Rock Hill is not coming through? Or is Rock Hill saying, no, the Panthers are lying. We've done what we're supposed to. Our guys aren't getting paid. This is a huge story, Phil, and it may end up ultimately, I hate to be the bearer of bad news and doom and gloom, and Pat and I were talking about this a couple of moments ago. This may be the first step in David Tepper finding a way to get out of Charlotte and move the Panthers.
Where would he go?
That is a great question.
Well, we'll go into details about that.
St. Louis is looking for a football team, aren't they?
Yeah, there's places he could go. San Antonio.
Yep.
St. Louis. We will get into details about that in just a moment, but let me go to the Masters leaderboard because we're getting late in the day. The winds, of course, were a factor today. Listening to Masters radio on the way in, seems like in some parts of the course, the wind was sort of settling down and wasn't causing as much of a problem as it was earlier. But Scheffler is your leader at 6 under par, 3 under on the day. He's through 13 holes. Number
The
one
most
player in the
underrated
world.
number one player in the world in maybe golf history.
Mm.
No one chatted about him and having a chance to win the Masters. And here's a guy who's probably going to take the 36-hole lead into the weekend as the number one player in the world. And I doubt there are many people that still believe he might get it done.
Schwartzel would be second right now. He's in with a 69, 3 under par. A 74 is 3 under. Shane Lowry is playing the 18th. He is at 3 under, 4 under on the day. I think he's got the best round of the day going so far. Joaquin Niemann playing with Tiger Woods. They're in a twosome today because Oosthuizen had to withdraw with a back issue prior to the round. So Woods and Niemann playing together. Niemann's up to a tie for second, 3 under par. He is through 15. Varner, the third, playing in his first Masters and doing a great job. Back-to-back 71s for him. He's at 2 under. Dustin Johnson having another good day. He's 2 under on the day, 2 under. Make that, 1 over for the day, 73. Plus 173, 2 under for the tournament. Matsuyama is on the course through 14. He's at 2 under. We have Connors, Morikawa, Zalatoris, and Willett all in at 1 under. And Kevin Na is on the course at 1 under playing the 18th. And Smith is on 17. He's +3 for the day. He is -1 for the tournament. As for Tiger Woods, he's had a very interesting day. It looked like it was getting away from him on the first 9. In fact, his first couple of holes, I think his drives were in fairway bunkers on the first couple of holes. He really had to battle on the front side, and there was more of a talk of could he make the cut, which is going to fall around 4 over or 5 over, and he was backing up. Well, he's turned it around. He's got himself to 1 over. He's 3 under on the day. He is no. I'm sorry.
3 over.
I keep jumping to the wrong line. He is 2 over on the day. He is +1 through 15. So
and about to get to even. It looks like he's going to make a birdie on 16 to get him back to even.
Well, he's had that kind of a day. He bogeyed 1, he bogeyed 3, he bogeyed 4, he bogeyed 5. So he was 4 over. Then he birdied 8, he birdied 10, bogeyed 11, bogeyed 12, birdied 13, birdied 14, he parred 15. Where was his tee shot on 16? I didn't hear it.
Hit it middle of the green. And, of course, if you know 16 at Augusta, if you hit it into the middle of the green when they have the pin down at the near the lake or the pond, the ball always rolls down that direction. And he rolled it within probably, 6, 7 feet off his tee shot. So unless he just forgets how to putt, and that's the one thing Tiger Woods has always known how to do, and that's putt, he's probably going to get back to even par after 16.
That would be amazing considering how he started. And, listening to the announcers, they were talking about the limp being more noticeable, and people were starting to talk about, is he starting to really feel the pain? Can he make it through the round? He has certainly pulled it together. And if he finishes up with a couple of birdies here coming home, he's going to be in great shape for the weekend.
I'm still feeling pretty good about my roast beef next week.
Well, I was at Seawells today, and as a matter of fact, I took the big old slab that was left. I took it home with me. So I'm going to carve that up if I have to.
No, indeed. I want the hot and fresh from Seawells when Tiger does not win the golf tournament, as I told you he would not do yesterday.
All right, Thomas is +1, hit a few others here. Watson is +2, Garcia is +2, Rahm is +2, and Henley is +3. Tell you who was making a move. Let me see if I can find him. Kisner. Kisner has gotten back to even. Kevin Kisner from Aiken after a 75 yesterday. He's 3 under playing the last today. So he's got himself back to even par. Right now, the projected cut is 4 over. It's the top 50 in ties. Projected cut right now is 4 over. 52 golfers sit inside the cut line at this point. All right, there you go with that. We'll have more live from Augusta coming up, so stay tuned. Meantime, Clemson is underway in its game against Notre Dame. In fact, they're almost over. They started an hour earlier. Tigers are trailing Notre Dame up in South Bend 3-1. Bottom of the 8th, Notre Dame has runners on the corners and 1 out. Tigers were down 2-0 after 2. Scored a run in the 4th. Notre Dame scored a run in the 5th. Tigers only have 3 hits. Notre Dame's had 8 hits, couple of errors. They've left 5. Clemson's left 8. 3-1. Notre Dame on top of Clemson. South Carolina, Georgia tonight. First pitch, 7 o'clock over at Founders Park. Let's see what kind of weekend the Gamecocks have against another nationally ranked team in Georgia. Georgia will be missing one of their top arms, but still they have quality pitching and they have a good overall team, though their stats don't really support that. As we talked about last night, you break them down statistically, look at where they rank in the SEC, you wonder how they're so good. And we'll see if South Carolina can take advantage of that. Maybe Georgia isn't all that as they go through SEC play. They just lost a game at Clemson earlier this week. The Gamecocks, of course, beat North Carolina, so a chance for them to build on something good here this weekend against Georgia. We'll see how that goes. The Columbia Fireflies open their season tonight against the Augusta Green Jackets at Segra Park. That'll be at 7:05. Left-hander Noah Cameron will start for Columbia. Augusta will send up right-hander Royber Salinas. And again, tickets are on sale. If you're listening to us in the area, you want to go see some fantastic minor league baseball plus a fireworks show afterwards and just the great atmosphere of minor league baseball at Segra Park tonight. The Fireflies open up at 7:05. A lot of news around Gamecock men's basketball today. Lamont Paris did add 2 assistant coaches from his previous staff at UTC. Of course, Kerry Rich was named yesterday assistant to the head coach. Today, he actually added coaches who will be sitting on the bench and instructing along with him, Taylor Bronson and Eddie Shannon, joining the Gamecock staff. Eddie Shannon, of course, should be a very familiar name. He was an outstanding player at Florida. And so these 2 guys have joined the staff. There'll be more hires to come. Keyshawn Bryant officially leaving the Gamecock program. He announced on Twitter today that he is entering the draft and he is signing with an agent and he is not coming back. And so he is the latest to be leaving the Gamecock program, a roster, of course, that has been decimated since the departure of Frank Martin between transfers, opting for the NBA, and a couple of guys who were already out of eligibility.
Phil,
Now,
I wish him well, but I just don't see Keyshawn Bryant being drafted in the NBA. I'm just not sure his game is anywhere close to ready for NBA talent, and I'm not sure it will ever be. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, not everybody's cut out to play in the NBA.
I don't think he'll be drafted because it's only 2 rounds. But he is a freakish athlete. You
know?
No
doubt.
Somebody might sign him to a G League deal or one of those 2-way deals, but he's a freakish athlete. For his career at South Carolina, he played in 98 games over 4 seasons. He averaged 9.9 points, 4.3 rebounds, 45% from the floor, 22% from 3. You're 6'5", you got to shoot better from 3 to make it in the NBA. 22% ain't going to cut it. And 60% from the foul line. This season, he averaged just under 9 points and 4 rebounds. He is the 6th scholarship player to leave the Gamecocks. And, of course, 2 others exhausted their eligibility. So it's a total of 8 that have gone. So it's a complete rebuilding project being taken on there by Lamont Paris. But this is where the transfer portal, John, comes into play. In fact, this weekend, he's having an official visit from Hayden Brown, the Citadel standout out of Burns High School, who's taking an official visit this weekend, but a guy that can certainly play, and somebody he knows because he coached against him in the Southern Conference. Notre Dame has just tacked on another run at the bottom of the 8th. They go to the 9th. Irish leading Clemson 4-1. Tigers in serious jeopardy here once again, Chris. They're going to be they're at the bottom, near the bottom of their division in the ACC. Another loss is going to drop them down even more. This is not a good-looking start to things in league play for them.
What's really disturbing is the fact that if they were to lose tonight and then lose one of the next 2 games, either tomorrow or Sunday, that would be their 7th straight ACC series loss dating back to last year. Their last ACC win was in, I think, April, tail end of April, early May against Louisville at home. If Monty's going to turn it around, that's where he's got to start. You got to win conference games and conference series. And the Tigers just are not getting it done in the league. For whatever reason, they started off so well, and they've fallen on some hard times. And if they can't find a way to get Caden Grice going, it may not matter. But for them in ACC play, boy, it has been a struggle to say the least.
With this loss pending, that'll drop the Tigers to 2-7 in league play, only ahead of Boston College, which is 2-10 in their division, and they would be basically about 3 games back of the next two teams in the standings. Next two teams in the standings tied for fourth, Wake Forest and Florida State. So they're building themselves a bit of a gap. The way they're playing in league play. Hit a break. We'll come back and update some more. Friday edition of Sports Talk. Happy day because the Yankees beat the Red Sox. Always a happy day.
Sports fans, are you in it to win it? Join South Carolina's fight against COVID-19 by getting your vaccine today. Vaccines are safe and will help stabilize school operations by bringing us back together safely. The CDC recommends everyone 5 years and older get vaccinated. Visit scdhec.gov/VaxLocator or call 866-365-8110 to find a vaccination station near you.
Founders Federal Credit Union knows your life is busy and your money is important. We are proud to offer local personalized services and convenient online services like Founders Online and the Founders app. You'll love being with us as much as we love serving you. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our 37 convenient locations to see if you qualify for membership with Founders. Relax, win with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
I learned that people are just looking for somebody to listen to them. You can't just start cutting somebody's hair and you can be quiet the whole time because you're not going to be in business long.
The South Carolina Education Lottery has provided over $800 million to help students attend technical colleges across our state, investing in a new generation of entrepreneurs, just like James. Your passion is our purpose.
Fireflies baseball is back. Happy opening night, everyone. Join us at Sager Park tonight at 7:05 p.m. for our first game of the 2022 season, where the Fireflies battle the Augusta Green Jackets, the Single A affiliate of the Atlanta Braves. Make sure to stick around after the game for our first fireworks show of the season. Tickets start at just $5. Gates open early at 5:30 p.m. You can visit firefliestickets.com to get your tickets now.
Squeeze them in, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery. Lucky number. Here on Sports Talk, and since 2002, more than $6 billion in lottery proceeds. Not as much as being spent over there in Rock Hill on a project that apparently is going belly up. More than $6 billion in lottery proceeds have been used to support South Carolina educational programs. Learn more about the South Carolina Education Lottery's impact at sceducationlottery.com/education wins. Playing for fun is a win for education. I can hear our pal, Kevin Cohen, laughing all the way home to Harbison, Irmo area of Columbia where he lives, driving out of here. So I remember when this thing came up about the Panthers and the state supplying them with all this tax breaks so they could build this thing over in Rock Hill. And he was adamantly opposed to it from a political standpoint and from a standpoint of state tax dollars being spent for a personal project, which it is. I mean, the Panthers are a private enterprise. They're owned by an individual who's got moolah money.
So is BMW. So is BMW. But we cut them tax breaks so they could build a new plant up in Spartanburg 1,000 years ago.
They employ thousands, and I mean,
but that's what you have to do with big business.
I'm not talking. I'm not here to question that. I'm just saying Kevin would be laughing because.
Oh, I understand, and he's not alone.
My point is, this. I'll let you update the latest news coming out of Charlotte, the Rock Hill area, because apparently it sounds like this big project, which I drove by the other night, And I mean, they've got like part of the overpass constructed on both sides of I-77. They don't have the beams going across the highway yet, but they got the side part there going up. You can tell I'm not in construction.
You described it pretty well. I knew exactly what you were
whatever those things
discussing.
are called, the legs. They got they got the legs going up. They don't have the beams going across the interstate yet. And then they've got all the land that's being cleared for whatever they're building back there. Are they just going to stop? Is that going to be the end of it? Is it going to be a ghost town?
It's a great question. And does Carowinds maybe expand south now because of all that stuff that's already constructed? But according to Joe Person of the Charlotte Observer, and I'm not sure there's a better Panthers beat writer than Person is, but he tweeted out this afternoon that the Panthers have begun cutting ties and breaking housing leases with contractors and subcontractors who are working on the Rock Hill project, according to sources. The team has halted construction on the $800 million project in early March, of course, after the city of Rock Hill failed to issue bonds for $225 million in taxpayer funding. You go a little bit further, multiple media outlets reporting in March that the Panthers would continue to pay all the workers on the site and extend their wages a week from the time the project was halted. Asked on Friday if those workers have been paid, a Tepper Sports and Entertainment spokesperson declined comment. So you have to begin to wonder, Phil, have they actually been paid for their work? If the Panthers aren't comfortable describing this, and then you go over to other stories in the Charlotte Business Journal says a York County councilman believes the Panthers have permanently abandoned the project and that the team will instead seek to recover its expenses from Rock Hill. Let's see, State Senator Wes Clymer lashed out on Tepper, saying, quote, if David Tepper's behavior is indicative of how the NFL does business, then who wants to do business with the NFL?
Somebody will.
The bottom line is that our community deserves answers. The city, the county, the state, and the Panthers work together constructively for a considerable period of time at great effort to bring to Rock Hill a world-class sports entertainment center. David Tepper came to, this is my favorite quote, and this has been flying around Twitter, but it's great. David Tepper came to Rock Hill promising us Jerry Jones, and ever since then, he's given us Dan Snyder.
Wow. So any response? There's been no response from the Panthers, huh?
I don't think so. The problem is they're probably sitting in litigation with the city and with the York County, so they can't comment. So the question is, this is a he said scenario that's going to have to play out probably legally in the courts. But Phil, if you're David Tepper and you want to endear yourself and you want to continue to be the Carolina Panthers, as Mick Mixon always talked about, we're a two-state, one team. If you want to continue to endear yourself to us down here in South Carolina, this ain't the way to do it.
Yeah, and this is certainly not going to lead to a new stadium being built in York County either.
Gosh, no.
If this is the case, because I mean, Bank of America Stadium is but by stadium standards, getting some age on it. Was it built in the mid-'90s, lacking in a lot of the luxury suites and other amenities that NFL stadiums today have, and not able to produce, I guess, the revenue streams as a result. And there was talk that this was just going to be a precursor to a new stadium in York County, Pat.
Just to kind of piggyback on what you guys are saying here, just a little more information on David Tepper. He is actually the wealthiest of all the NFL owners, and I'm not trying to tell somebody how to spend their money. He's earned it. That's so be it. But he's worth $13 billion. Jerry Jones is the second wealthiest at 8.6. So he's over 40% wealthier than Jerry Jones, and that's what we all thought we were getting when David Tepper bought the franchise. Again, it's been more closely associated with Dan Snyder. Also, some quotes, love bringing back the paperwork. The first thing I care about is winning. The second thing I care about is winning. And the third thing I care about is emphatically winning. That's on and off the field. That includes the charity aspect, the community aspect, and how we make a community better. You win in a lot of ways, and I don't like to lose in any way. That was David Tepper at his introductory press conference when he first bought the Panthers. Doesn't seem like he's done much winning on or off the field since then.
No, they're a mess. They're a bona fide mess over there. You know, their quarterback – what's the bigger deal, their quarterback situation or their construction situation?
Well, if you're just looking on the field, obviously it's quarterback. Yeah, no doubt.
No question about it. Okay, let's hit the break, and we'll come back and go live to Augusta. Scotty Scheffler on the course through 14. He is your leader. 3 clear. Charles Schwartzel. Scheffler sitting there at 6 under. Can he go lower? We'll be back.
On-point weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
There's your weekend forecast. Chilly tonight, clear skies. The low dipping to 41. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, but we're not warming up much. The high is 59. Tomorrow night, cold, a low of 37. Now Sunday, well, glorious. Sunny skies, a high back up to 71, and no more rain until the middle of next week. Have a great weekend. I'm Kevin Thorne with your on-point local weather.
When you think about spring, good stuff springs to mind. You know, like spring break. Woohoo! A friend springing for drinks.
Thanks, dude.
A spring in your step. Spring fever.
Oh, behave.
And best of all, spring water dough pizza from the Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers.
Yeah, baby.
Experience the taste of spring with our amazing hand-tossed pies, spring fresh salads, and over 100 beers from around the world. Enjoy spring at the Mellow Mushroom in the Vista and on Sunset in Lexington.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I'll tell you, I'm a tough case. I am 91 years old, and I'm amazed. That's why I'm doubling my order. I tried about 30 different supplements, and this is the most amazing product I have ever tried. I am very delighted with it. You may give me another 10 years on this earth. It's a miracle for me.
Get a wide variety of all your daily recommended servings of whole fruits and vegetables without having to leave your home. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or by going to balanceofnature.com. And make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code BALANCE. You've seen the news. You've talked to your friends. You may have even looked around yourself. Home prices are nuts. Seems like no one is offering any kind of discount, except Lexington Discount Homes. Discount is their little name. Quality homes that fit your budget with the size, model, and floor plan that your family needs. You can still afford your dream home at Lexington Discount Homes. Augusta Highway, near Ballpark Road, 803-951-1900 or LexingtonDiscountHomes.com.
If you're like me, you're sick and tired of seeing these old TV stars, game show hosts, these athletes telling you how to save money on your Medicare and on your health insurance. These national toll-free numbers are overwhelming us. It's not that people don't need the service. They need good local customer service, not big box toll-free numbers. See, I work directly with Tim Hanberry right here at Medicare Blueprint in the Midlands. When it comes to my family, I want the best family plan. I'm not even on Medicare, but my mom is, so here's what I do want. Someone local to serve as my advisor on the plans and choices that I have, and someone to help mom with her Medicare. I want someone to help me pick the right plan, save me as much money as possible by knowing all the rules of the game. Medicare Blueprint starts the process with you. They will see it through. They answer all your questions. They call you back. It's the same folks helping you start to finish. Tim and his team are independent. They fight for you, not the insurance company. Online, it's MedicareBlueprint.com or call them 708-7398.
When you're a military veteran with over 40,000 organizations trying to help you, it can be hard to find the right information. That's why AARP brings together valuable resources to help you navigate your options. AARP.org/veterans. With the free veteran employment and fraud prevention resources, caregiving tools, and access to discounts, AARP, on a mission to support veterans. Visit AARP.org/veterans today.
You know what? I get asked every now and then, Kev, when you say my guy, do you really have a my guy at Palmetto Exterminators? Well, I really do. Ron Byers is my guy. Do you realize I've been a customer of Palmetto Exterminators for 20 years this summer? That's over the course of 3 homes, longer than my kids have been around. I'm loyal to Palmetto Exterminators for several reasons. First, they do a phenomenal job with pest control for a very fair price. It's just not a concern around my home. They take care of everything from regular visits to termite inspection, mosquito care. This is a company that's been around for more than 60 years serving the Midlands. When they come around, they're clean, they're courteous, and they're on time. Look, it's not just me. When it comes to things like those pesky mosquitoes, Palmetto Exterminators voted Best of Columbia in Columbia Metropolitan for their mosquito control. I could have told you that before anyone even voted. What else can you possibly need from your pest control company? If you're looking for someone to help you, look no further than my guy, Ron Byers, Palmetto Exterminators. Online, it's palmettoexterminators.net or call them 254-5833, 254-5833.
Why does everybody talk so softly when they talk about the Masters in such tones, such
Hush tones,
such snotty tones, like we're better than you are, so we have to talk quieter or with bigger words than you can produce and sound much smarter and say things like front nine. First nine.
First nine.
And second nine. Don't dare say front nine, back nine, and don't call it a clubhouse.
And patrons,
yes.
Not the gallery.
Yes. By the way, Clemson loses to Notre Dame 4-1. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But it is time to dive in to the first of our triple coverage of day 2 of the Masters. Scotty Scheffler, 6 under. Charles Schwartzel, Sungjae M, Shane Lowry, Joaquin Niemann, Hideki Matsuyama. They are all at 3 under. 2 under, Harold Varner the third, Dustin Johnson, Kevin Na, and Cameron Smith. Tiger Woods on the course missed the birdie opportunity at 16, par 17. He is on 18 right now. As we welcome in MJ Ward from Augusta. Been out on the course all day, following folks, spotting that win. Great to have you with us again, MJ. How are you?
Well, I was hoping for Sungjae M and Na to be near the top of the leaderboard so they could do what you wanted.
M Na. That would have been fantastic.
Yeah, I shared that with some of the media people here, and they said you have a future in Asian radio. So I mean,
well, add any more letters in there, I won't be able to pronounce it. But M is good and Na is good. I can handle that. What about Scotty Scheffler today? People projected him as the favorite. Now he's playing like the favorite.
Yeah, he is, and I think the thing that'll always be curious. I mean, with anybody at his level, since he's never won a major championship, is how does he handle what will be for him new territory somehow, where he's going to have to play on Saturday in a very cool air day. It's going to be even cooler tomorrow than it was today, and the wind pattern will probably be at or greater than it was. And in all reality, if he's in the last group, it's how does he handle it? And there's no way to tell how that will play out. But you can't take anything away from what he has done over the last several months. I mean, he is the world's number 1 player. He's playing like the world's number 1 player. So it'll be interesting to see how this comes through. But as I said to you yesterday, I think anybody within 6-7 shots of the lead is still in the game. I don't think anybody is out of it, because I think there's always the possibility that somebody could go crazy low, and then all of a sudden they push themselves up the leaderboard. You saw some of that today with certain players, but the reality was, yesterday there was 18 scores at 71 or better. Today you only have 10 right now. Yesterday you had 6 scores in the 60s. Today you only had 3 in the 60s, and we'll have to see if Scotty makes it 4. Hideki could make it in the 60s today when he finishes. So tougher game today. It's gonna be a real battle. This is far from over. And as I said, I think anybody who's within 6-7 shots still has to be counted as being part of the mix. But Scotty Scheffler controls his destiny, and if he completes that and wins a green jacket, then you will have now seen a new generation really have come into full blossom, and having done it at Augusta.
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, there's a lot of good golfers within reach. We'll see where Tiger finishes up right now. He's at +1. He turned his day around, but then you just go back to the twos, and you got Garcia, and you've got Rahm, you've got McIlroy, you've got there's plenty of guys just a little bit down the leaderboard, but within reach, you can make a move anytime tomorrow. And then, of course, further up, you've got Dustin Johnson sitting right there after 73 today. He's 2 under par. You got to keep an eye on him. Danny Willett was looking really good at one point, slipped back to -1. Justin Thomas, another pre-tournament favorite, still on the course at -1, so he can improve himself a little bit. So, I mean, there's a lot of people within arm reach of the lead who could make some noise on Saturday.
Well, give you an example. I mean, you just mentioned Justin Thomas. I mean, he's 5 under for today, and if he posts that, that would be the low round for the day. I mean, he was looking at going back to the Augusta airport and leaving after the first round. And I'm only saying that jokingly, but I mean, essentially that's where he was. But now he's turned it around. A lot of things can happen here. I would not count anybody out. You did mention Tiger, and I think in fairness, he got off to a really tough start, 4 bogeys in 6 holes, and it was going to be an uphill climb from that point. The thing about Augusta today, there just aren't that many good birdie opportunities, and when you have wind blowing and you have an elevation change in the property, you must hit the ball really exact to the distances that you need to get close. And oftentimes, as the pins were today, they're set on ledges and plateaus. So it's sort of like landing a jet aircraft on an aircraft carrier. And the boat is bobbing around, and you've got to land it on the deck of an aircraft carrier. You can't go too short. You can't go too long. And it's that kind of premium, especially when the wind is up, that you have to make those adjustments. And then sometimes when you get to certain holes on the golf course, like 11, like 12, you can see a lot of shots disappear very quickly if you make a major miscalculation.
MJ Ward with us from Augusta. Of course, tomorrow, always the big day, the moving day. Well, not as big as Sunday, I guess, but it's the day when people put themselves in position to make something happen on Sunday. And conditions, like you mentioned earlier, it's going to be chilly. And the pin placements on Saturday, how do you view them on a typical Saturday at Augusta? What do you think it'll be like out there tomorrow?
Well, one of the things that's amazing to me is that for some reason or another, the Augusta National, the folks who are involved with setting up the golf course, they pretty much know how to dial it up or dial it down. So you don't necessarily see the same situation from one day to the next. And some of these pins today, they were really placed in tough spots. If you missed in the wrong spot, the likelihood of making a par was almost nil, unless you dropped a longer putt. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they prepare the golf course. I mean, they know what the weather forecast is going to be. So, it will depend upon, how generous they want to be with certain pin placements. But I would think when you come Sunday, you're going to see the traditional pin placements that one has always seen at Augusta. For example, the 12th hole will be in the far right corner. You may see 16, in the back left corner where you have that feeding area where the ball will feed in off with the slope. I think you're going to see, it'll be interesting how they set up. I can't say for sure what they will do, but when you get cool air and you get wind blowing around, you have to make constant adjustments. And even on the top of your backswing, all of a sudden the wind gusts can come up, and what you thought was a good shot can turn out to be very perilous depending upon where it goes. I'm going to be curious to see what Tiger has to say in terms of how he felt the conditions were, because he was going out in the afternoon wave of players. And obviously, did that have any impact on why he had such a slow start today?
Mm-hmm. MJ, it looks like Scotty Scheffler will be the 36-hole leader. He just birdied 15, so he's sitting at 7 under par. It's doubtful he's going to blow that over the final few holes. He won the match play. He won the Arnold Palmer. He won the Phoenix Open. That's how he's gotten to number 1 in the world. What kind of mindset, though, does he have to be able to handle something in a major? This will be a situation unlike any of those that he's dealt with before, being the 36-hole leader on the first major of the year and probably the one that everybody wants to win the most. How do you think he's mentally prepared to be able to handle that kind of environment and that big a stage for him moving forward?
Well, I'll give you a good example because I was out there when it took place. But at last year's Ryder Cup matches, Scotty Scheffler was paired up against John Rahm, and I frankly I thought, you know what, the number one player in the world was John Rahm. Scotty Scheffler will give him a battle, but in all likelihood he'll probably lose the full point. Well, Scotty Scheffler went out, made 5 birdies in the first 6 holes, and he sent a message to John Rahm that was loud and clear, which is, as good as you may be, I am equal to the challenge. And Scotty Scheffler disposed of the world number one by a resounding 4 3 score. That was my wake-up call to how good Scotty Scheffler can be when circumstances dictate it. He rose to the challenge back in Wisconsin. I would not sell this guy short by any means. I think what it comes down to now is he has now this belief now that he has gotten to the winner's circle. He knows what it takes to get there. He had been a consistent player, and that's why Steve Stricker picked him for last year's Ryder Cup team as a wild card pick. But the reality is that he has not shown any indication when he gets into a tight situation that he is not prepared to take it to the next level. So I wouldn't measure him up for a green jacket right now, and I would hope that his team is not doing that. But I would not rule him out of playing solid golf. To shoot 7 under right now, and if he finishes at that number, given the conditions that he had to face in the afternoon of today, that speaks only to the quality and the character of the game that he's got right now.
All right, I'll let you go here in just a second. I don't know how far behind my video is, but I'm watching Tiger lining up a birdie putt on 18. And my last question to you is, I mean, obviously he's going to make the cut, be around for the weekend. Just how incredible is that for a guy picking up a golf club in a major competition for the first time in over 500 days, coming off the accident that he had, that he's going to be around this weekend playing at the Masters with a somewhat legitimate chance of finishing way up, maybe winning this thing, probably a long shot, but at least he'll have a shot at it.
Well, I would say this. I mean, I wrote about it today and from yesterday's round, and I would say that has to rate as one of his best rounds. I wish I had the opportunity. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to get the opportunity, but if somebody had the opportunity to talk to his surgeons and what they had to do, and then what he had to do in physical therapy over the many months to get to where he is at now. I mean, I think this is, look, and the scale of what Tiger has achieved, we measure it by wins. So in fairness, no, I don't see a win coming this week, but I think he has won certainly the kind of, respect that he's always had, but even more so given the state of where he was 14 months ago, to be out there on a stage where it's all out there in front of you. There's no backups, there's no relief pitchers, there's no substitutes coming in. When you're exposed, as he said, you're exposed, and he's done admirably. And I wouldn't shock me now, given that he's made the cut. We'll see how he's able to tune it up for tomorrow's round, and maybe he can make a move closer. But, no matter what he does from this point forward, he deserves a lot of credit just for being there and showing what he's been able to do.
Well, Neiman just bogeyed 18, and Tiger looks like he's got about a 3-4 footer coming back up the hill to clean it up there on 18. We'll see if he can make that. MJ, we thank you so much, man. Great stuff all week. Can't tell you how much we appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon, and enjoy your weekend at Augusta.
Guys, have a great weekend.
Thank you, Matt.
MJ Ward, who writes the Golf World. You can read his stuff. Just do a search for Golf World. Do a search for MJ Ward, Matt Ward. Great insight on the world of golf. He follows it nationally and internationally. Glad to have him with us here on Sports Talk. Back in a moment.
The lady in black doesn't age.
Parents ask, What's the best way to save for college? I'm State Treasurer Curtis Losses, and my answer is always open a Future Scholar 529 college savings account. It's easy. You can get started online with any amount. It's flexible to adapt to your child's college dream. And you can deduct 100% of your contributions from the South Carolina state tax return. So what are you waiting for? Go to FutureScholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. FutureScholar.com.
Fireflies baseball is back. Happy opening night, everyone. Join us at Sager Park tonight at 7:05 p.m. for our first game of the 2022 season, where the Fireflies battle the Augusta Green Jackets, the single-A affiliate of the Atlanta Braves. Make sure to stick around after the game for our first fireworks show of the season. Tickets start at just $5. Gates open early at 5:30 p.m. You can visit firefliestickets.com to get your tickets now.
Tiger made his putt for par.
Woohoo!
But Scheffler,
Back to within 9 shots of the lead, Phil.
Okay.
Still got our chance.
Scheffler has got another birdie. He's on fire. He's at 8 under. Got a 5-shot lead. Right now, he's running away with this thing. But nobody runs away with the Masters. Almost nobody. You know,
Tell Tiger that.
Tiger did once. He's done it once. I mean, there's been some blowouts, but typically it'll tighten up. You know, the throat gets heavy. The swing gets a little loose. It'll tighten up. But
keep an eye on Shane Lowry. He's sitting right there at 3 under. Was really good today.
Mm-hmm.
Actually had a hole in one. A week or 2 weeks back? I can't remember now, but he might be somebody to keep this sort of just off the pace right now in a tie for second, 5 back. But he might be somebody to watch as the weekend unfolds.
Well, he's posted the best round of the day so far at 68, but Scheffler's got a chance to beat that because he's 5 under. He still has 17 and 18 to navigate, so we'll see what happens there. I believe that 68 is the best round of the day. Now, we had an 85 today. We've had an 84, had an 81, had a couple of 80s, make that 3 80s. Ooh, there's an 83. Yeah, some of the guys out there are struggling, some of the amateurs. I don't think any of the amateurs are going to make the cut, which is, disappointing, like when an amateur can make the cut. Thanks to MJ for being with us. When you're thinking about golf, of course, around these parts, you think about the Grand Strand. And when you think about the Grand Strand and you're thinking about where am I going to stay, where am I going to find some great accommodations for a weekend or a week or a month or longer, we want you to call James Smith Realty, Jimmy Smith, James Smith Realty at 843-237-4246, Paulie's VacationRentals.com, located right in the heart of it all, Litchfield and Pawleys Island, 2 great locations. They can handle property for you there, also in other parts of the Grand Strand as well. Hey, if you're looking to buy a piece of land or buy a house, they have their hands on unbelievable numbers of properties. Just give them a call, 843-237-4246, or visit Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. Jimmy Smith is the man, and Pawleys and Litchfield and Surfside, Garden City, Georgetown, all those areas, those are the places to be. That number again, 843-237-4246. It is now time to plan that perfect beach getaway. Let Jimmy Smith handle it for you at James Smith Realty. Great people and a great location there at the beach. All right, Clemson loses 4-1 to Notre Dame. The Tigers go down. And some other baseball, Winthrop leading Charleston Southern 5-1, top of the 5th. Pittsburgh over Boston College 6-1, bottom of 5. College of Charleston leading James Madison 3-2, bottom of 4. Wofford 3-0 over Greensboro, bottom of the 2nd. Campbell leading Upstate 4-0, top of the 3rd. Mercer over the Citadel 3-1, bottom of the 3rd. Georgia Tech 2-1 over Florida State, top of the 3rd. North Carolina 9-0 over Louisville, top of the 3rd.
Wow.
Georgia State 8-0 on Coastal Carolina, bottom of the 2nd. Florida 2-0 on Arkansas, top of the 2nd. Missouri leading Tennessee 2-0, top of the 2nd. That's what we got so far. Minor league baseball in Columbia tonight, Chris.
Yes, we do. The Columbia Fireflies open up the brand new season tonight. I'm interested. Do the Augusta Green Jackets, if the season is starting as we have this year, do they always have to move out of town the week of the Masters? But nonetheless, they are in town tonight in Columbia. Be throughout the weekend to take on the Columbia Fireflies as they open up a brand new season, hoping to rebound from what was a really, really dismal season a year ago. Back on Wednesday, we had a chance with the media day over at Sagara Park to visit with a couple of the players and also the brand new manager of the Columbia Fireflies, Tony Pena Jr. Of course, his dad had a long, long career in Major League Baseball, and Tony Pena, to kick off the discussion, was asked what it feels like getting ready for opening day.
I'm excited. It's you get your feet wet when you get in, get the practice going, and your adrenaline starts rushing to excited for the season to start. It's a young group of players that are very excited also to be here. And my first year in a full season club as a manager, so honestly, an experience that I have no words how to describe it.
So how will you be, opening night in terms of the nerves, everything? Will it be different for you because this is your first head manager?
Definitely going to be different. Managing Arizona, rookie ball, there's a lot of things that you got to coordinate, but being able to be here in Columbia this year, it's going to be a fun experience. Going to be able to be around, fans that we weren't able to do that in the past couple of years. So definitely looking forward to it.
What will they see on the field? What kind of team do you have? And obviously it's about development, but there's also a little bit of entertainment value too.
Oh, definitely. We have a very young team that's hungry to get better, and they're going to put on a good show. They're going to play hard every day. They're going to bring a lot of enthusiasm and hungry to get better and win ball games here.
What's it like seeing all the guys back here and all the excitement?
Oh, it's been a while, being in Arizona, you didn't get any fans. So they're definitely excited just to be able to get to the feeling like, wow, this is totally different. And, a lot of them are it's the first year playing a full season squad. So being able to be out, see the stadium, practice, you can feel the energy and the excitement that they have.
You have a lot of really good prospects on your team this year. What does that mean to you?
Oh, it's great. I feel happy that the trust that the organization has, just letting me lead this group of young men and to teach them how to play the game and play to win.
What's the key to navigating through a 130-plus game season? And just obviously it's more for development than wins and losses. How do you try to balance both?
Well, to me, the number one thing is we got to try to keep them healthy. If they're in a healthy spot, they'll be able to put in a good show, go out there, put the work in, and try to get better every day. They get 1% better over a 142-game season, and it's a lot that they can improve.
What do you see as the biggest challenge from moving from a bench coach now to a manager?
Well, last year I was working with the infielders in KC, and this year being able to be up there and seeing how everything's run, it's something that's definitely going to help me run the team down here and try to prepare them to what the coaching staff and what to expect at the big league level.
The tradition of the Royals franchise and people who've been following baseball for years, they can appreciate that. Does that trickle down at all? Just knowing when you put on this uniform, you're also representing the parent organization.
Oh, of course. We always the Royals organization is a first-class organization. We always talk about the character that the players need to have on and off the field. So it's something that we're always talking about. They got to be good teammates. They got to represent the game and the organization on and off the field in a good way, and always being available for you guys, the fans, sign autograph, and they know that they have a big responsibility, not only on the field, but off the field.
Any advice from your dad?
Always, every day. We talk every day, and the one thing he always tells me, hey, baseball is a game, you guys got to have fun. So that's something that I cherish a lot, those advice that he gives me, and I try to teach these guys that.
How are you liking Columbia?
Great. I played in Greenville for a year, Greenville, South Carolina. It's not too far from here, so it's honestly a lot of memories from when I was here.
You've been around pro baseball a long, long time. Was there a sense of concern with the lockout that this season may not happen?
It's something that's honestly out of my control. I just try to stay in my lane and just continue to, during that time I was in winter ball when all that was going on. So it's something that I was just working and just trying to, hoping for the best with everything got figured out.
All right, there you go. And the Fireflies about to get underway over at Segra Park. Clemson numbers today. The Tigers only had 4 hits. 2 of them were by Caden Grice. Yep. Wright had a hit, and Rich had a hit. On the mound, Anglin was pretty good, 6 2/3, 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, struck out 4, walked 3, and Dill finished up with an earned run, a strikeout, a walk, and he hit 2. Tigers lose 4-1. Back in a moment.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. A missile hit a train station where thousands of people had gathered to flee in eastern Ukraine, killing at least 50 on Friday. Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby says Russia claims it did not carry out the train station attack in Ukraine.
We find unconvincing Russian claims that they weren't involved, particularly when the ministry actually announced it. And then when they saw reports of civilian casualties, decided to unannounce it. So our assessment is that this was a Russian strike and that they used a short-range ballistic missile to conduct it.
Photos from the station in Kramatorsk showed the dead covered with tarps on the ground and the remnants of a rocket with the words "For the Children" painted on it in Russian. With the war singeing the EU's eastern edge, French voters will make a choice in a presidential election that will have an impact beyond the country's borders. Correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports.
France is not only the bloc's second economy, but the only one with veto power at the UN. It's also continental Europe's only country with nuclear weapons. 12 candidates are vying for the presidency, including incumbent and favourite President Emmanuel Macron, who is seeking a new term amid a challenge from the far right. France's role on the European and global stage makes this election, taking place in 2 rounds starting Sunday, matter. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
A judge says New York City offered a baseless rationale for canceling the Trump Organization's contract to run a public golf course in the Bronx after the January 6th attack at the U.S. Capitol last year. Friday's ruling sends the matter back to the city for further proceedings. On Wall Street, the Dow by 137 points, but the Nasdaq dropped 186, the S&P lower by 11. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, I'm Al Abaroa, founder of Knight Strategic Wealth. Inflation is picking up, markets are volatile, and the dream of a comfortable retirement is harder to attain than ever before. Nobody wants to run out of money in retirement. That's why I'm going to share something that your financial advisor doesn't want you to know. With our investment strategy, when the stock market goes up, you earn a market-linked return that locks in every year. And when the stock market goes down, your investments won't lose a dime. There are no unnecessary fees, and it works for your investments, money at a brokerage firm, or even money at a bank. It's simple, it's safe, and that's why savvy investors work with us. Want to learn more? Text free to 833-898-0500, and we'll send our retirement readiness kit directly to your phone right now. If you want to help build a retirement portfolio that will go up with the market and never lose money, get our retirement readiness kit today and see how this strategy can help secure your future. Text free to 833-898-0500. Text free to 833-898-0500.
Correspondent Marcia Dunn reports for the first time an all-private crew is flying to the International Space Station, launching earlier today on a SpaceX charter flight.
This is SpaceX's first private chartered flight to the space station. These 4 men are actually going to dock tomorrow, Saturday, with the International Space Station and have to stay there for more than a week before splashing back down.
Dunn reports the 3 businessmen on the trip are paying their own way.
This is a 10 to 11-day flight, and each of the businessmen on board paid about $55 million apiece for the entire trip. It's still a costly affair, but SpaceX and Axiom and others are hoping that the more this happens, the lower the cost will be.
The capsule was launched from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting.
On Point weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. Chilly tonight, clear skies. The low dipping to 41. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, but we're not warming up much. The high is 59. Tomorrow night, cold, a low of 37. Now Sunday, well, glorious. Sunny skies, a high back up to 71, and no more rain until the middle of next week. Have a great weekend. I'm Kevin Cohen with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, we continue with our triple play coverage of day 2 of the Masters from Augusta National, where people aren't careful. Scotty Scheffler is going to run away with this thing. 8 under par as he is coming up 18. Got a 5-shot lead on Charles Schwartzel and also Sungjae Im and also Shane Lowry. Now they are all in, and also Hideki Matsuyama. They're all at 3 under, and they are in. 68 by Lowry. Standing right now is the best round recorded today, but if Scheffler birdies 18 or pars out, now he'll have the best round of the day, 5 under, 67. Let's welcome in Don Williams, who has been at Augusta all day, tracking the leaders and those at the back, like Bernhardt. I don't know that Bernhardt shot an 80 today. What did he shoot today? I had to look him up. Don, how are you?
I'm fine. I enjoyed your Masters report. So what would you like me to do?
We want your unique insight as to what went on today at Augusta National.
It was a strange day in that for, 10 hours? Nobody seemed to want to take control. And, of course, the conditions probably had a lot to do with that because of how breezy it was and the course beginning to firm up and some tough conditions. For hours, nobody had a score under 70, with the exception of Charles Schwartzel, which would not have been on your short list of picks a couple of days ago, I don't think. And then all of a sudden, a flurry here in the late afternoon. I mean, Scheffler obviously has separated himself from the pack. And how many people do you think that are casual golf fans can recite the fact that he is officially the top-ranked golfer in the world and has been for about, 4 weeks now? He hadn't won his first tournament on tour until about 6 months ago, and now he's number 1 in the world and showing why today. But in addition to the 5 under that he has as he comes up 18, Shane Lowry had a 68 today. And, of course, Justin Thomas, who I've left for dead, on the front 9 this afternoon, he ended up with a 5 under 67. So some late round heroics by people to either get in contention or just stay within shouting distance of Scheffler. It'll be interesting, Phil, as he's now become used to winning and the hype that goes with being the top-ranked player in the world, and with this kind of a lead, how he will handle all of the attention and the being in that last group at Augusta tomorrow.
You look at some of his numbers today, Don. I mean, he's striking it well, almost 300 yards off the tee, hitting the fairways 85%, greens in regulation over 71%, 11 birdies on the day. 11 birdies in the tournament to this point, only 3 bogeys. So he's got to be playing with a heck of a lot of confidence. And you talked about how he's come on, and nothing will do anything more for your confidence than winning like he has. And I guess he's just carrying it over to this week.
Well, top-ranked player in the world for a reason. He's been playing this way for quite some time. And, among the insiders in the golf world, He was one of the 3 or 4 prohibitive favorites, I think, coming into this weekend, and certainly nothing he's done has surprised us today. I mean, you watch Dustin Johnson. I saw him play virtually all of his holes today, and Dustin just does what he does. He hits it in the fairways, and 2 or 3 times will miss one badly, but he's got great shots to recover. But he could not make a putt. He just could not scare the hole, and he ends up shooting 73. Now, considering when Dustin went out, that was a kind of a normal score. The scores were higher this morning than they were this afternoon, which is very unusual. Afternoons always tend to have the higher scores. And the winds, certainly, I didn't think lightened any in the afternoon, but for some reason the scores did improve over the last 2 or 3 hours. So as you look at those that are lined up behind Scheffler, there are some players that are world class. There's no question. Shane Lowry, Hideki Matsuyama, Dustin Johnson, Cameron Smith, Colin Morikawa, and Zalatoris. And then, of course, Justin Thomas right on the fringes there at 1 under after his great round today. But they're all going to have some help. If he manages to par 18 or even birdie, if he can avoid a bogey, that's a 5-shot lead. That's pretty big. Now, somebody tomorrow from that group we just mentioned, between 3 under and 1 under, somebody's going to come out of there and shoot a pretty good round tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So he will have somebody to jump up at him. But if he throws another 67 or 68 on the board, man, it's going to be tough for a lot of folks. I was just thinking about 4 o'clock this afternoon, man, we've got a 20-man golf tournament here. Right now, I don't know if we do.
Don Williams with us here tonight on Sports Talk, his recap of round 2 of the Masters. And Don, back to Scotty Scheffler, and you talked about him sleeping on the second round lead going into the weekend, and at least 5. I can't imagine he's going to birdie. He actually put his drive on 18 into the pine straw up the right side, so he's going to have a challenge just to par out to finish this remarkable round. But in some weird way, is it helpful for him not being in this position before in a major to have someone like Tiger Woods in the field to take some of that heat off of him? Tiger's 9 shots back, and I just watched an entire highlight montage of him after his 74. He's the only player in the field who's not inside the top 5 that commands that kind of attention on the leaderboard in some strange way. Even though Tiger's pretty much out of contention, does it help Scotty Scheffler to have him in the field?
Oh, I think so, and he's taken the attention off of a lot of players, and I think that's one of the reasons that we've seen a number of first-year players like our friend from up the road in North Carolina, Harold Varner. He's inside the top 10 right now at 2 under par. Remarkable comeback because he was 3 over after 12 yesterday, and then he had an eagle on 13 and added a couple of birdies, and then shot a 1 under today. And I think that a lot of people like him have just been under the radar because nobody's paying attention to anybody but Tiger. But that's going to change. Scheffler, though, he's the kind of personality, if you've watched him play, he is the quintessential PGA Tour unflappable guy. And I mean, unlike Dustin Thomas or Jordan Spieth or even Rory McIlroy, who wear their hearts on their sleeves, Scotty Scheffler just seems like somebody who goes about his business and accepts the highs and the lows kind of equally. It's going to be hard for him to shake. There really has been no signs of him having pressure-oriented nerves and, putting woes. Now, it's still a tough game, and he could easily go out there and shoot 74 tomorrow, and if he does, that's going to bring a whole bunch of people back in, and that doesn't mean that he's choking. It just means it's a tough game, and that's a tough golf course. You look at Tiger. You mentioned him. He was 4 over after 5 holes today. And you had to think, everybody was thinking, okay, the magic has worn off. He battled back, obviously, to get it back to 2 over for the day. In other words, he shot 2 under on his final 13 holes. And, he doesn't quit. I mean, I think that's what we know about Tiger Woods. Obviously, he's not at the height of his powers by any stretch of the imagination, but he can find a way to get the ball in the hole.
Yeah, well, see, Chris is rooting against Tiger because we have money riding on this thing, and I'm with
Phil,
you,
is that
John.
is that allowed? Is that legal?
Well, yes, now it is. Everything's legal. There's nothing
Tell-
illegal anymore in this country.
Tell
Everything's
Don the
legal.
truth, actually, Phil, because it's more important than money. It's a free lunch at Seawells.
Free lunch
it's
at
on the
Seawells
line.
is actually more important,
Considerably more
than
important.
dollars or Bitcoin. And Tiger is going to be in the hunt. You mark it down. He will be in the hunt come Sunday afternoon about 4:30. Mark it down. You heard it here, because I think the field will back up, and I think he regained his poise and his confidence after that shaky start today. And I look for a charge from Tiger on moving day tomorrow. Who else do you see moving tomorrow?
Well, I really did not think that Cameron Smith would go backwards, but he did today by shooting. Now, he was 4 over and finished at 2 over. So you can get well on the final stretch of holes of 13, 15, and 16. And then you just have to hold on 17 and 18. So he brought it back a little bit. I have all the faith. I shouldn't say faith. I have all the respect in the world for Dustin Johnson. He could shoot 66 in a heartbeat. Matsuyama has really played well, better than I thought, because he had been hurt a little bit, but looked great today. So I would say Matsuyama and Dustin Johnson and Cameron Smith should come back. Those are the ones that I would really be paying attention tomorrow. It's an incredible feat for Charles Schwartzel to be in this position. He is a former Masters champion. Actually, he's always a Masters champion, but he he's ranked 200th in the world. He really has not played at a high level in 2 or 3 years. So he'll be in the final group tomorrow with Scheffler. It'll be interesting to see how he stands up to that.
Don, I always like to say, you are the master of all Masters reporters. How many years?
This is 39.
Wow.
You get a special parking spot for number 40?
Well, there is rumor to that effect. I ran into Phil. I ran into Phil Schaefer today. I don't know if you used to work at WSB in Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
Phil. I told Phil it was my 39th, and he said something about the parking spot, and he has one. and I said, he said, as a matter of fact, I carry a picture of the placard in my wallet so that I just know that I have a parking place at Augusta National. I said, Phil, how many years is this for you? He said 54. He went to college at Ohio State with Jack Nicklaus's wife, Barbara.
That's unbelievable.
And he looks great. He looks way better than you do.
I'm sure he does. And by the way, when you have that hip surgery, make sure you let us know your hospital room number so we can send you some flowers.
That would be so nice. So nice.
No, we'll do the show live from Don's hospital room.
Yeah, actually, can I have the bad hip for my collection? And just, I'll just hold on to it for memories.
Hey, I got one thing that I'm really looking forward to tomorrow, and this has a South Carolina angle, which we should always work in. And by the way, Lucas Glover made the cut on the number. But Kevin Kisner will be paired with Tiger Woods tomorrow.
How about that? He ought to go get a sponsor real quick, man, because you're going to get all kind of TV. Well, I don't know if you'll get much TV time, but maybe the camera will pick you up when it's swinging away from Tiger.
Kiz shot 2 under today. He had a good round. So, there were, and there could not be two players any more dissimilar than Kisner and Woods. But I tell you what, you've seen Kisner in the match play. He's a bulldog.
Yes, he is. And he plays well at Augusta. He really does over the years.
Yep.
Don, as always, man, we can't tell you how much we appreciate it. Thank you so much for being a part of our coverage. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Take care, Phil.
Thank you very much. The master of Masters reporters from Augusta, Don Williams.
39 years. That's remarkable.
Going to be hitting 40 out there next year. That's great. And we
what is this, the 86th? Isn't it the 86th Masters this year?
Yeah.
And that guy he was talking about is going to, 54?
I think he said 51. I thought he said
somewhere
51.
in that neighborhood, yeah.
50 plus.
Good grief.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That's incredible.
All right, thank you, Don. We really appreciate it. Checking the leaderboard. Scheffler is, I guess, still on 18.
He just parred.
Okay. So he finishes at 8 under. Going to sleep on a 5-shot lead over 4 other golfers. How about Kevin Kisner tonight? Of course, he's a pro. He's been around. You think he worries about playing next to Tiger on Saturday at Augusta? Is that getting your head at all when you try to close your eyes at night? We'll be back. Going to go racing after the break.
The lady in black doesn't age.
Parents ask, what's the best way to save for college? I'm State Treasurer Curtis Losses, and my answer is always open a Future Scholar 529 college savings account. It's easy. You can get started online with any amount. It's flexible to adapt to your child's college dream. And you can deduct 100% of your contributions from the South Carolina state tax return. So what are you waiting for? Go to FutureScholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. FutureScholar.com.
Life, it has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit PlayResponsiblySC.com.
Love it when it's forward, love it when it's fast, love it when the leaders talk, the pack is moving past. Love it when they're making lots and lots of noise. Can't wait to hear the W say. Boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys. Love it when they're drafting, love it when they slide, love it when the back's straight, the throttle's open wide. Love it when they're making lots and lots of noise. Can't wait to hear the W say. Boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys. NASCAR racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys. NASCAR racing.
Can't hear the music. Well, just sing anyway. You know
Makes
the
it a little more
words.
difficult.
You know, we go from the quiet of Augusta to the loud of Martinsville for racing. I think, Jeff, good to have you with us. What if the Fox announcers treated a race the way the CBS announcers treated Augusta?
There'd be a lot of people turning the channel probably.
Here comes Blaney. He is rubbing his way towards the front. Oh, my. Look at that beautiful concrete as he makes the smooth move through turn one.
And you probably wouldn't be able to hear them over the roar of the engine. So,
especially now.
That would be interesting.
Hey, I saw some video from NASCAR today of Kevin Harvick practicing at Martinsville, and they mentioned something about the 5-speed transmission that they have in place on the next-gen car for Martinsville. Is this something special?
Well, yeah, they've changed. The transmissions on these cars are a little bit different, but yeah, I think they've installed, allowed them to go with that setup at Martinsville, mainly because it's such a different track, you know, and it races almost like a road course, where you're shifting a whole lot more, you know, with those short straightaways, and then you're diving into a really, really tight hairpin turn. They need to downshift, and they need to, you know, use all that transmission they got. So they do run a little bit different setup at Martinsville than they do most other oval tracks.
So practice today, tell you some of the speeds they were turning today at Martinsville, and it was Chase Elliott, the fastest in the practice at 94.704. Then Kyle Busch at 94.5. Bubba Wallace, 94.5. Alex Bowman, 94.4. And Christopher Bell, 94.4. So, and that's 3 Toyotas and 2 Chevys. What do you take out of practice today? Anything that you can make from the practice session?
Well, a couple of things. Chase Elliott has been good at that track over the past couple of years. The year he won the championship, he basically did it by winning the last two races of the year, including the one at Martinsville. So I expect him to be very good there, but I also expect to continue to see sort of a resurgence of Joe Gibbs Racing. They got it done. They got off to a horrible start, and then Denny Hamlin wins last week at Richmond. Martin Truex Jr. ran very well. So clearly they've got things figured out on the short tracks, and this is a good one for them. Truex, I think, has won like 3 out of the last 5 races at Martinsville. Denny Hamlin has a bunch of wins there. Kyle Busch runs well there. So I expect the Toyotas and Joe Gibbs Racing to be very, very good. And then I think the Hendrick cars, too, will be in there with Alex Bowman and Chase Elliott. So I think it'll come down. I think on these short tracks, we're sort of done seeing these upsets for a little bit. And I think these tracks are going to favor your more experienced drivers and more experienced teams. So that's kind of what I expect to see this weekend.
All right, so they had a qualifying session, too. Missed this. So Chase Elliott won the pole. Eric Almirola was second. Cole Custer third. Chris Buescher fourth. William Byron fifth. So, see, I'm confused here because NASCAR, they just change things on a moment's notice, I guess, or maybe they alerted us in advance. Are they doing qualifying at every track or just some tracks?
Yeah, no, they've gone back to doing qualifying, but it's a little bit different. It's single lap runs, and guys go out, in groups again like they used to do. The interesting thing is that they've brought back practice again, which they didn't have during the whole COVID thing, and I don't think they had it at all last year except at select tracks. But they brought practice back. But it's different times. You don't get an hour and a half anymore. Some racetracks you only get 20 minutes. The most I've seen this year was 50 minutes, I think, at a couple of tracks. So they're trying to work all that out, but it does seem to change week by week. And I guess it's based on how much experience these drivers and teams have had at these racetracks.
Talking with Jeff Owens in the fast lane here on Sports Talk as we go racing at Martinsville. Before we forget about last weekend, another really good race. What about the way Denny Hamlin handled things at Richmond, kind of powered his way to the front and pulled away there over the last couple of laps, wouldn't let anybody get to him, and I guess he actually took advantage of some slower traffic to kind of be blockers for him.
Yeah, that was an interesting race because, that's a track where you expect Denny Hamlin to be really good and maybe dominate the race, but that's not really the way it unfolded. He struggled, had some issues during the race and had to fight his way through the field. And then the interesting thing about that race, it almost ran a little bit like a speedway because tire wear was a big, big deal in that race. And Denny wound up being on a little bit different pit cycle, and he had fresher tires than the leaders. They were able to do that. The tires were wearing out so much at that track that if you had fresher tires, you could speed through the field, and that's what happened. William Byron and some of those guys ran out of tires, so to speak, and Denny was able to run them down. So that was interesting the way he did that. That was a big win for him because he had gotten off to a terrible start. I don't think he had a top 10 finish until last week, but got things straightened out, and we may be, seeing the Gibbs cars start to turn things around here.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, earlier this week, NASCAR released its nominees for the upcoming NASCAR Hall of Fame. And on the modern era ballot, I see some names that at least appear to me as locks to get in. I think Matt Kenseth, Ricky Rudd might be in that mix, Jeff Burton, Neil Bonnet in particular, Harry Gant as well. In the Pioneer ballot, Sam Ard and A.J. Foyt. Certainly A.J. Foyt, I think, is deserving of getting into the Hall of Fame. But when you saw those names come out, who sort of stuck out in terms of their careers and worthy of getting into the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think A.J. Foyt is probably a lock for it. I think Sam Ard gets in too. He's a guy, an older guy that not a lot of people remember, but he was sort of he was a pioneer of the Busch Series. Won 2 or 3 championships way back in the day when they first started that Busch Series back in the 80s. And he was sort of a legend in that series, a very popular guy, a lot of wins. I expect him to get in. Some of those guys, though, are a little bit iffy to me. I'm not sure right now about Ricky Rudd and Jeff Burton. They both had great careers, but neither one of them won a championship. Neither one of them won the Daytona 500. So I think they're kind of on the fence, at least for right now. Matt Kenseth would appear to be a lock to me. Kenseth is a former champion, a two-time Daytona 500 winner, so I think he's the other guy that stands out. Those championships and Daytona 500 victories are really, really big when it comes to the Hall of Fame. So I would think he's got a great shot at being a first ballot guy, too.
As always, Jeff, great talking to you. Have yourself a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week. Should be a lot of fun this weekend at Martinsville. Looking forward to it. Thanks for joining us.
All right, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Jeff
Jeff.
Owens, in the fast lane here on Sports Talk. We'll slow it back down. One more trip to Augusta. George Bryan III watching those birdies and bogeys at the Masters coming up.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. Chilly tonight, clear skies. The low dipping to 41. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, but we're not warming up much. The high is 59. Tomorrow night, cold, a low of 37. Now Sunday, well, glorious. Sunny skies, a high back up to 71, and no more rain until the middle of next week. Have a great weekend. I'm Kevin Cohen with your On Point local weather.
Hey, it's Jay with the Melting Pot. Have you missed any special occasions in the last couple of months? Or are you planning a special occasion? What about graduation? That'll be here before you know it. And it's not just about a meal, it's sitting around a table and spending time together, reconnecting. When you come in, we encourage you to take your time, or you can just come in for dessert. We're still at 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard. Give us a call, 731-8500.
You aren't eating the healthy food you want to eat. Between work, family life, and the general day-to-day events, there just isn't time to do more than hit the drive-thru on your way home. And fast food always seems to leave you feeling lethargic and just missing out on the vital nutrition you get from fresh fruits and vegetables. That's why Balance of Nature exists. Balance of Nature was developed to help combat the unhealthy lifestyle that seems to permeate throughout America. Balance of Nature takes a nutritious blend of 31 different fruits and vegetables, puts them through an advanced cold vacuum process, grinds them up, and delivers them right to your door. You can get all the recommended servings of fruits and vegetables into your diet in just a few seconds without worrying about buying, storing, and preparing them. Eat better and feel better by going to balanceofnature.com, and be sure to get 35% off your first preferred order by using discount code BALANCE.
When it comes to firearms, ammunition, and accessories, some things are changing. Well, fortunately, some things haven't changed a bit. I'm talking all about Shooter's Choice in West Columbia. What has never and will never change is the customer service. Top-notch with the staff that has decades of experience in the firearms industry. This staff actually hunts and shoots regularly. For over 30 years, Shooter's Choice has never lost that hometown feel and never felt like shopping at some big box store. What has changed? Well, technology. If you'd rather spend your money on firearms than gas, go online to shooterschoicesc.com and check out a great website that's easy to navigate 24/7. Be the first to get items as they are received at the store. Be the first to get that newest production model ordered before it even enters the retail store. Come pick it up at your convenience. Sign up for notifications of new products and special inventory. It's all at shooterschoicesc.com. So come on in and see the team at Shooter's Choice, 944 Sunset Boulevard, or visit online. Either way, you'll see what I'm talking about. Make your first choice, your best choice. Make it Shooter's Choice.
Hi, this is Marsha Klayman.
And I'm Karen Pickard. We're your hosts for the Positive Point on Aging.
We'll talk about aging gracefully and senior care every Tuesday morning from 8:30 to 9 o'clock a.m.
Join us right here on the Point for the Positive Point on Aging.
Brought to you by Oakwood Village of Lexington.
Hi, Chris Neely here from the South Carolina Public Charter School District. Join me every Tuesday afternoon at 5:30 with Kev as we put our kids first. We'll answer all your questions about charter schools in the Palmetto State. Kids first, every Tuesday afternoon at 5:30 on The Point.
Everyone knows that here at The Point, we are all about supporting local businesses. We are all about local, local, local. You cannot get more local than my friend Greg McCoy and his business, Simplified Mortgage Solutions. Fran Halloran here. If you're buying a home or you're looking to refinance your current home, you owe it to yourself to call Greg. He is the real deal. You can expect Greg to treat you like you are his only client. You can expect Greg to scour the market to find you the best rate available. You can expect Greg to charge you a fair price for his work and his service. Why would you deal with some national company headquartered in who knows where when you can do business with Greg? Need further persuasion? Okay, I didn't even mention the good Greg does in our community by supporting local charities like Blue Star Mothers and Camp Chemo. Come on, you need to call Greg. Online at simplifiedmortgagesc.com, or you can call Greg at 803-722-6044. That's 722-6044.
Hi, honey. Were you able to drop by True Pharmacy today to pick up Mom's medications?
Yes, she sure is on a lot of meds.
I know. That's why I go over so often to help make sure she's taking them correctly.
Well, I have great news. The pharmacist at True Pharmacy said he can pre-pack her medications into individual doses.
Wow. Knowing she's taking the right meds at the right time will give me great peace of mind. But how much does it cost?
That's the even better part. It's free. Just another great service they offer at True Pharmacy. True Pharmacy, 2 locations, Charleston Highway in West Columbia and Divine Street downtown.
Straight down the middle. It went straight down the middle. Then it started to roll just a wee bit. That's when McKinney lost sight of it. That little white pellet has never been found to this day. But it went straight down the middle.
Round number 2. On this late Friday afternoon, we welcome in a man who's been walking the grounds of Augusta National all day, George Bryan III. He has seen some shots go right down the middle, I'm sure. He's seen some shots go into Rays Creek. He's seen some shots go into the Pine Straw and all other different areas of Augusta National. And George, we're efforting to line up your guests as we bring you on board. So we'll work on that while we have you. But welcome in to Birdies and Bogeys with George Bryan. How are you?
I am wonderful now. I started the morning with Lou Miller, Linda K. Miller, and also Kim Abbott. We got our start going through the gates, and also Chase Butler. He'll be join us in a bit. When it's such a unusual day, I felt the need to bring in another pair of eyes and a different perspective. He's a golf professional. He's a golf son of mine, Phil. You ask, hey, what is he a caddy? Well, he's a golf son of mine, and one of the coaches on Wesley George and Mary Chandler, and a number of other students on the teaching team. So we also Puggy Blackman. He's going to be part of the show, we think. And the caddy will be a big topic, especially this week. Scotty Scheffler. You remember last week he was my pick. And the top of the leaderboard, but we finished the day at Aiken Golf Club. we had to break away about 5 o'clock to get seven holes in.
Wait. You left Augusta, went to Aiken, and played 7 holes?
Oh, I couldn't stand it, Phil. I mean, you walk around all day long at Augusta, and it just overtakes you. And yes, we sped. We got there in about 20 minutes, but we played 7 holes in about an hour. Well, actually, a little less than an hour. And now we're on the way. We're here. We're back. But
Fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, let's go to the phones because we do have lined up one of your guests, and we've got Chase Butler with us on the line right now. We're working to get Puggy on if we can. Chase, can you hear us, sir?
Yes, sir. How are y'all?
Good to have you with us. You're on with, of course, your man, George Bryan III. George?
Yeah, we spent all day today together, and probably the most unusual. I've been going to the Masters since 1980. Chris Noonan, my roommate in school and college, invited me to go that year, and now we're in 2022. I've never seen a day like today at Augusta. Absolutely brutal conditions for scoring. Beautiful to look at. Incredibly difficult to play. Chase was with me all day while we were there. We did leave at 5. I've already confessed, Chase. Welcome, Chase Butler. Welcome.
Oh, yeah. We did leave to play some golf, which it's hard to do, but when you watch that much golf and you play, it makes you want to go play yourself.
And Phil, when we've been doing this 30 years, And Phil, there's nothing quite like going to watch a golf tournament. This week it's Augusta, next week Harbortown, and then you get all built up. Now you go play. I mean, goodness gracious, you feel like you're walking on water. But hey, let's jump right in, Chase. Most don't see what we could from live. These guys were playing some unbelievable golf today. Not sure how the telecast, what the announcers were saying, but it was pretty amazing to watch. Give me your insight, Chase.
Yeah, it was definitely very difficult. The wind would go from nothing to a bunch, all in the same hole for most players. And we saw a lot of good shots, especially into 7 early that the players thought they hit good and they ended up in the front bunker. So, yeah, it was definitely tough scoring.
And what we Phil, now there's a little more play since the extended coverage. Holes like 7, people don't realize how difficult 7 is. And early holes, 1, people don't even get to see number 1. It might be, I told Chase today, 1's probably my least favorite hole out there because I think it could be the hardest. 12 being my favorite. And although we didn't look at much going on there, the wind was unbelievable. In my opinion, in what happened today, the field played up for Scheffler to be at 8 under. Did he end up posting at 8?
He did. He's at 8. He's got the lead at 8.
The story there, in my opinion, is Ted Scott, the caddy, and I'm really hoping that Puggy's able to join us. He might have gotten tangled up like I did.
We have Puggy. We have Puggy on board. You can welcome him in.
Let's welcome Puggy Blackman, Hall of Fame golf coach. And Puggy, welcome once again this week. Did you make it to Augusta yet?
No, didn't make it. Busy doing stuff over here in the lab and all kind of other stuff. And I kind of after going all those years and having a dog in the hunt, I'd rather watch it on TV. So not quite as exciting as it used to be. And so I do miss the pimento cheese and egg salad and all that good stuff. But I don't need those either.
And there's nothing quite like my rotation is the egg salad, or I love the chicken salad, but that egg sandwich with the Masters Club, and I want to jump right in and talk to you about the caddy, the value, the importance of the caddy. You did have a dog in the hunt, one who almost won it, David Duval, and I think Scotty Scheffler's caddy, Ted Scott, is the difference maker, and he was my pick as we signed off last week. Talk a little bit about what you think about the role of the caddy in these events, especially the majors, Puggy.
Well, I'll go particularly to Augusta. Having been over there with David, and he was. It's funny. He really would. If he could have gotten through 16, he had a shot at 4 jackets. And then I happened to watch one the other night on TV where he missed. I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 putts coming in that could have won it for him. But, at Augusta particularly, to have somebody on the bag, because, it's like a chess game. You have got to keep the ball below the hole. I mean, you got to know where to leave it, and, and you got to do it for 4 days. And, you've got to have a lot of discipline. I mean, I know with David, every year we'd go over in the practice round, I would try to get him on 12 to get it over to that right pin placement, and he just kept looking at me like, not even going to do it. I'm not going to do it because I'm never going over there. Never want to be tempted to go over there. So, sometimes it's just good to have that guy on the bag that's, you talk about expectations. I mean, what is this going to do for his career? And, to be able to go to that Champions Dinner every year. And, it's hard not to get ahead of yourself. So I think the caddy is incredibly important. And this kid, he is really, really turning it on now, and no fear, and just, can't get to him fast enough. So anyway.
So do you think you saw David Duval on back then it was the Nike Tour, then he went to the PGA Tour. He must have been Mr. Second, Mr. Runner-up for a couple of years, much like Scheffler is. In my opinion, Scheffler was the best player not to win, and then all of a sudden he gets a new caddy and wins 3 times. Do you think Do you have an opinion about that? Did the caddy make the big difference or not in your eyes?
Well, yeah, it'd be hard to say, but I would say, definitely some had to click, and sometimes it just takes somebody just to kind of put something in your head and that gives you that little edge, a little bit more confidence, and it's hard to say whether it's the caddy, but I mean, I'd certainly have to say he must have played some kind of role in it because he's turned it around very quickly. But and you look back at. You talk about like with David. I mean, he got out there and he finished second a million times before he finally won. And if you really look further back, you look at Watson, and Watson did the same thing. I mean, he had a hard time winning that first event out on tour, and then once he won, I mean, he went crazy. And I look at both of those guys, and they had caddies that were pretty damn good at it. So anyway, that's definitely a positive to have somebody on the back that can handle the heat, because those guys are the ones who've got to reel you back in when you start getting ahead of yourself.
Chase, I want to throw that one at you if you're still with us. What's your idea on the role of the caddy?
Yeah, I definitely think the caddy would help a player like that. Ted Scott's been there. He kind of already knows what's going to happen. And you just help them stay in the present and keep moving forward. So I would definitely say Ted Scott has helped turn on the light bulb.
I have to admit, he's a friend of mine, and I've spoken just a little bit, not a very tiny bit recently, but quite a bit when he was on Bubba Watson's bag. And in my mind, based on, in my opinion, for that particular program, I think he's had a huge influence. And I haven't talked to him yet. He hasn't. I can't wait to find out his perspective on it. And thought I was going to get one of the caddies from Augusta, possibly to call in. It's not going to happen this week. Possibly next week, Phil. Next week we'll be at Harbor Town, and I'm hoping I'm hoping you're going to be live and on site. We might play a little golf. What do you think, Phil?
I wish, but you know what, George? They no longer allow us to broadcast from there or any other radio shows from what they've told us. So we're not going. But they don't allow us to broadcast from the media tent anymore. Apparently the PGA has stepped in and blocked us all except for PGA radio. Can you believe that?
Well,
why don't you just Phil, why don't you just broadcast out of George's yacht, right there in the basement?
I thought about that. Last time I walked by it, Puggy, it was taking on water, so I'm a little bit concerned about it.
That's a very reasonable concern. A very reasonable concern.
This is the last point I want to make on the caddy situation is let's wait till Amen Corner and the finish on Sunday, and you're going to find out really how good he is. Because that's going to be crunch time. He's got a great lead. It's going to be interesting to see. Carrying that into the weekend and then getting the Sunday afternoon. And, I like being from the low country of South Carolina, I use the term, big possums walk late. And we're going to find out if he's a big possum. So
that's got to be a Ridgeland expression. No question.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure it'll ever be used again either. That one had to be originated in Ridgeland. I've never heard that.
Oh yeah, well, you never hunted possum either. So when you go possum hunting, you go late because the big ones they come out late. They don't get out there early like the young ones because the young ones they don't get to be big.
Well, let me just ask you this real quick. Okay, what do you do with one when you catch it, or shoot it, or kill it, whatever you do with it?
Well, I would like to say I did when I was a kid. I had a grandfather actually cooked one and with sweet potatoes, and all I can remember is the potatoes were floating, and possums have a lot of fat. So you've heard of possum fat? They have a lot of that, and so I don't think it would be considered to be a nutritional highlight for most people today. So anyway,
big possums walk late. All right. Well,
yeah.
Hey, so I tell you, I got to get one quick question. Puggy, I noticed today these players on balance played up in incredibly difficult conditions. There were a few of the players obviously struggled, but it was stunning to me to see the quality of play from these players, given the fact the golf course playing difficult, the conditions gust up to 30, 40 miles an hour and untimely. Nothing was steady. Is there an explanation for that? Yesterday, the conditions not nearly as hard, nowhere near as difficult, but today I think the scores were better on balance. What do you think?
I think these guys they've gotten so good with adapting to things. They adapt. To me, going out there, the hardest thing in the world for me would have been, I remember the year that, Duvall was in the playoff with Vijay Singh. They finished up they got the darkness caught them on Saturday and they had 3 holes to play. And we got up, we had to get up at like 6 a.m. to get over there, and it's 7:30 and play 3 holes. And then you go back and you're leading. So you go back and then you wait till 2:30 to tee it up again. And I'm like, I don't know how you do this, but these guys are just, they're just so much, they're groomed, they're conditioned, and, they've had the benefits, I think, of learning from past players, and we've got people that understand how the brain works and all that kind of good stuff. So it's, it's impressive to not only watch the play, but just the sheer number of great young players that are coming along, and, when Phil and Bryson and those guys were talking about taking leave and going on to the over to Dubai or wherever they were going, I'm like, good riddance. There's 20 guys. There's 20 guys ready to step it up and can play you guys into the ground. So go to it. But anyway, there are a lot of Scotties out there. So.
Hey Puggy, we'll have to keep this going next week. I just got my 15-second call, and we also have a brand new sponsor coming on next week, Tsunami Bar Sports. And Chase Butler, thanks. Enjoyed it today. The golf was good. He did beat me at Aiken Golf Club. We'll talk about that later. But Puggy, thanks so much. Maybe we'll tee it up next week at Harbor Town. You all right with that?
Enjoyed it. Anytime we go down, and I'll show you where to go look for possums. So anyway,
Puggy, you the man. You the man, Puggy.
Big possum.
Rock and roll.
Big possums walk late. Thanks a lot.
Yep. Elvis is still alive and well.
His new nickname, the Big Possum. Thank you, guys. Great stuff. Okay, Puggy, Chase, George, we appreciate
I had to
you.
look it up, Phil. I had to look that phrase up because I'd never heard that before. But evidently, Keith Jackson, the Hall of Fame broadcaster of college football, for a long time known as the voice of college football, he evidently used to use that as well. That was one of his phrases in his broadcast.
He was from Carrollton, Georgia, so it probably fits. Ridgeland,
Big
South
possums
Carolina,
walk
Carrollton,
late.
Georgia. Big possums walk late. I can't believe he actually ate it. His grandfather actually cooked it with potatoes.
I'll take the potatoes, but just not in the juice. Just don't put it in the
Reminds
juice.
me of the time I ate frog legs and thought they were chicken.
They taste like chicken. Huh?
Alligators taste like chicken. Probably possums taste like chicken. All right, we'll give you the recruiting report. USC trailing Georgia 1-0 top of the board.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
We're with Major Billy Downer of DNR. Of course, hunting is very popular across the state of South Carolina. Major Downer, what things should our hunters be thinking about before they get out in the fields?
It seems like every other show we're talking about hunting safety of some sort. Whether it's turkey season or deer season, hunters always need to be aware of their target. Make sure before you pull that trigger that you know what you're looking at. Whether it's a turkey during turkey season or a deer during deer season, you know your identifying features of your game. You know what's beyond that target in case you miss.
Learn more about the great outdoors in South Carolina with Major Billy Downer on SC Wild here on the Sports Talk Media Network.
The lady in black doesn't age.
Took K-Mac out. It was my special meal for K-Mac. I called it the Lakers eliminated from playoff contention meal, comfort meal of comfort for K-Mac. So, and it was great. Roast beef and chicken and the vegetables. All Clyde Wren. He's doing well. Thinks the Gamecock's going to be pretty good. And it was good to see him. Good seeing the Sewell guys. And, of course, the luncheon buffet will be available all next week. But they wanted me to remind you that they, of course, are very much active with their catering. You need the best in the catering business. You got a party, you got a wedding reception, you got some kind of corporate outing, some sort of a banquet that you need catered. It is Sewell's the place to call. 803-771-7385, SewellsCateringSC.com. They'll come to you, or they can host at their beautiful location on Rosewood Drive. Recruiting. So, we're going to talk about Samaj Bridgman, linebacker, 6'1", 210 out of Philly. Named the top 8 this week, USC, Penn State, Rutgers, Jackson State, Oregon, West Virginia, Georgia, and Florida. Hasn't been to USC, learning a lot about the program from Pete Limbo and Clayton White. Those conversations have given him a lot of insight. They had a Zoom where he met all the coaches. His parents met all the coaches, liked all the coaches. So he wants to get down there for a visit at some point. They talk to him practically every day. They're running really hard, and he likes them at this point. They like his versatility. He can play inside and outside. And his most recent visits were Rutgers and Penn State. He does not have any others scheduled at this point. Camden defensive tackle Xavier McLeod named the top 10. USC, Auburn, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Florida, Oregon, Michigan, Florida State, Oklahoma. 2024 quarterback DJ Lagway, 6'2", 215, Willis, Texas, was at Clemson today. Dutch Fork running back Jarvis Green plans to be at Clemson tomorrow for the spring game, as does Midland Valley 2024 running back Trayvon Dunbar, as does 2024 defensive tackle Omar Lopez of Stockbridge, Georgia, 5'11", 290, as does 2024 defensive tackle Kyle Mosley of Ellenwood, Georgia, 6'1", 290. Offensive lineman long snapper Ryan Snipes, Roswell, Georgia, was at USC Thursday, as was quarterback Jalen Rayner of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. USC offered defensive tackle William Spencer Jr., 6'5", 320 of Louisville. Linebacker Jordan Hall, 6'3", 225, IMG Academy, plans to visit USC this weekend. 2024 receiver Mazio Bennett of Greenville plans to visit Tennessee May 28th. USC Clemson target 2024 quarterback Jaden Davis, offered by Miami. Clemson target defensive tackle Jamal Jarrett of Greensboro. He plans to name his final schools on May the 1st. So put that on your calendar, Chris. Northwestern offensive tackle Jordan Knox was offered by Virginia last Saturday while on a visit to Charlottesville. He was at Duke today. Hartsville running back Deshaun Anderson was at Wake Forest yesterday. Hilton Head defensive tackle Chris Marable committed to Wake Forest. Also saw where Arch Manning took a visit to Virginia, and Tony Elliott. In fact, I think he's there today, according to reports. Tony Elliott trying to sneak in there and become a factor. Basketball, USC today offered 6'10" Jordan Butler of Christ Church. Of course, his brother's at Florida State. Dad's the coach at Christ Church. College of Charleston signed 6'3" transfer Pat Robinson III from West Liberty. He is a graduate transfer. He had over 2,100 points in his college career. Baseball left-hander B.J. Bailey of Spartanburg Methodist committed to Clemson. He's from Woodruff. His career at SMC, 4-1, 1 save, 2.94 ERA, 95 strikeouts in 64 and a third innings. There you go with recruiting tonight. Brought to you by Seawells. Georgia leading the Gamecocks 1-0, bottom of the fourth. Chris?
Quick question on recruiting, and it's fairly obvious, I think, to all of us, and I'm sure Tony Elliott as well, that Virginia is not going to get Arch Manning. So he knows that going into recruiting, right? So what is his
mom
end game?
And his aunts went there. And you know that Peyton delivered the commencement address there. They got some ties to Virginia. But go ahead.
But my guess is, assuming that he's not going there, what is the end game? To get your name in as a new coach with a high-profile recruit, hoping that other high-profile recruits say, well, if Arch Manning's looking at Virginia, maybe this is not a bad place to go.
Notoriety. Absolutely. By the way, Chris Lowe of ESPN has written a story with Dabo Sweeney. The Sweeney says there needs to be a complete blow-up of college football. By the way, follow our coverage of the Clemson spring game tomorrow. We'll be there. Have a great weekend. See you Monday.
Someone will be right with you.